So Rell Seas just made some great changes, and they dropped a few new things, but the most important thing, and it's what I'm referring to when I say changes, is the fruit revamps. For those that don't know, when Rell Seas originally showed their fruits, and I believe it was devlog 1 and then in devlog 2, a lot of people weren't impressed with the visuals of the fruits. A lot of people were saying the VFX and visuals were mid, and some people were even saying they were straight up bad. And to be honest, it really just wasn't that ridiculous to say that at the time. The visuals really weren't that crazy. I'll probably put something on screen, but like I said, it wasn't that good. And a lot of people are claiming the game was going to be bad because of these visuals, and that's where I personally draw the line. I'm like, that's dumb as hell. Just because the visuals weren't great does not mean the game is not going to be great. And if I'm keeping it real with y'all, I think that might be my biggest problem with people on Roblox and in gaming in general these days. They value visuals so much over gameplay that you actually get trash gameplay with pretty visuals, but it doesn't matter because the gameplay is trash. But because of all the complaints Rell Seas got about the VFX on the fruits, they decided to revamp a lot of the fruits. We've seen multiple get revamped, and I'm assuming a lot of the fruits we haven't seen probably got revamped. But the fruit that probably got the most complaints, at least in my memory, was the Gura fruit, or Whitebeard's fruit. And some of you guys might remember they did make some changes when people initially complained about Gura, but the changes they made were nothing compared to this new Gura they sneaked just now. And if we can get a VFX jump like this and some of the other fruits, I promise you we are eating crazy good. I'm gonna be eating like I'm dream chasing. Okay, I don't even know if it's possible to eat that much, but let me show y'all what I'm talking about. We went from light blue squiggly lines to like 4K pure quality glass. That literally looks like it's from the show. I'm sorry, no glaze though. Okay, let me not even say that. I'm not beating no type of glazing allegations when it comes to Rell Seas, but y'all get my point. It looks really good. It's not a big clip by any means, but you can't tell me this don't look great. Now, I really wouldn't expect other fruits to be quite to this level of quality, but even if they're close, I mean, that's definitely saying something because this is crazy. And just to make it clear, my opinion on VFX in games is still the same. I don't value them super significantly, but don't get me wrong, when VFX look nice, they look nice, and it does definitely still make an impact. And if we're being real with ourselves, graphics correlate to players on Roblox very significantly. If your game looks flashy and looks good, it's more likely to do really good. So even though it won't make a super significant difference in my personal enjoyment of Rell Seas, I do think in the long run it will be beneficial for them to do these really nice visual changes because it will get them more players and it will just be more healthy for the game overall. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what y'all think, and let's move on to the next thing they dropped. And what they showed us is really crazy because it's another gravity rework. If you remember, originally gravity looked pretty average. It didn't look anything that crazy. Then it got reworked and looked pretty good. Arguably the best gravity on Roblox in my opinion. And now they reworked it again, so I'm trying to actually watch that with you guys. Okay, so here's the gravity rework. The first move is push, I believe, then pull. They changed the effects a lot on those. It used to be a lot more simplistic. Now this looks a lot nicer. It's basically just a better version of the last one. The last one was even nice though, to be honest. Now I believe this is just the normal meteor move. The last one was good too, so I don't think it's a huge change, but it does look better. Now this I actually don't like. I mean, it does look better. It looks really good, don't get me wrong, visually, but you used to be able to aim it and now you can't aim it again. You weren't able to aim it, then they made it so you could aim it, and now they reverted that change. That was a good change to make it so you could aim it. That move is going to be trash in game if you can't aim it, unless it's like versus bosses or something. Other than that, it will be trash. So make it so you can aim it. Now this is another variation of the gravity meteor move that we just saw that you can't aim now. Now this one is basically when you're up in the air, I believe you're able to do this one, or no, I think it's when you hold down. And that one looks tough. It looked tough before too, so I'm not gonna act like it's the biggest change in the world, but it still looks good. Effect from far view, better explosion VFX, and rock debris placement. Okay, so it looks different from far away. That makes sense. It looks good. Now they didn't really explain this too much, but I'm pretty sure this is a new variant now of the gravity like dominance move when you're on the floor. It's basically where's it at? It's basically another version of this move. It's basically like an air variant, I'm pretty sure. Now the other one I think might have looked a little bit cooler that they did in the last showcase, but it was a little OD, so I'm not mad at them to change it to make it a bit smaller. Let me try to show you guys the other version. So here's the old version. As you can see, on push and pull there's way less effects, and honestly I wouldn't hate if you preferred this one, because the new one is kind of hard to see with that. Oh, these rock moves, they didn't show these, so maybe these didn't get changed at all, or they removed them from the kit, because these did not get shown at all. See, before you could aim it, now you can't aim it anymore. I'm telling you, I don't know why they did that. See, look, it's the gravity field move. The gravity field move, that was it before. Now it's more like compressed towards the ground, so it's more similar to the normal one, which I guess makes sense. And here's the ultimate. Let me know what y'all think looks better. I think both versions are good. The newer one I would say visually does look better, think it is an improvement, but there is some things I like about the older version, like I said. But either way, I think gravity's gonna be a crazy fruit on release. Y'all can't tell me this isn't gonna be like a top 5 fruit for y'all. I feel like at least top 10, because damn, I know there's 30 fruits on release, but this kit just seems like it's going to be very good for PvE and PvP. Now, they also reworked the dragon fruit. They showed us what the dragon hybrid form now looks like, and if I'm being honest, I didn't expect this to get reworked, and that was mainly just because the last one looked so good. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably just because of copyright, and also this new version is definitely more detailed than the last one, so either way, I would say it's a good change. I'll probably put the old one on screen so you guys can compare, but I think the biggest change is definitely the horns, and that's probably done to avoid copyright, like I said. Now, they also just dropped some really big news for console and mobile players. They actually showed us what the UI design is gonna look like, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I've never played Roblox really on mobile or console, so y'all are gonna have to let me know if this looks good. I really know nothing about UI design in terms of mobile and console. I'm also pretty sure you can plug in a keyboard and mouse on console and play with keyboard and mouse. Let me know if y'all are gonna do that, because I feel like that is like what I would personally do if I was on console. They said for mobile UI, the lock button is to adjust the controls. I'm hoping you can also move the lock button, because that's in the middle of the screen. Ain't nobody trying to have the lock button in the middle of the screen. I mean, maybe that's normal for mobile, but I just personally don't see how that would make sense. And they also said that the UI positions can be saved and resetted using commands, so that's also really good news, I would say. The next thing they dropped is also pretty significant, and it's a whole parkour system, and I'm pretty sure this was not confirmed to be a thing until now. As you can see, it mostly consists of a wall running system, some type of vault system, and just a climb system in general. They did say there will be a bar, so you won't be able to wall climb and wall run forever, which was definitely necessary, because imagine if you chasing someone and they just start wall climbing forever or wall running forever from you, and you gotta chase them down like that. That would be trash. Overall, this probably isn't the biggest change in the world, but at the same time, I do think it is a pretty big addition, considering it is going to be another way to get around the map, especially if you don't have mounts yet and things of that nature. And especially when the game is literally meant to be an adventure and exploration game, it does make sense to have multiple ways to maneuver around the map. Now, we also got a sneak of a lot of new armors. One of them was confirmed to be Leviathan armor, so I'm pretty sure the other ones also might have to do with fish as well. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, calling sea beasts and sea creatures like that fish kind of sounds crazy, but y'all get what I'm saying. The one on the left kind of reminds me of one of those like octopus looking fish designs if you look at the shirt and whatnot, so A probably drops from something like that, just a guess though. And also, if we look at the one in the middle left, look at its right shoulder pad. What the hell is that on it? That's like a shark or something. Please tell me I'm not crazy. I am not crazy. It's one after Magna Carta. But it is pretty obvious the theme going on here is these are all based on underwater creatures. Like, the only one that I thought was kind of iffy was the one on the far right, but now that I look at it, you can actually see there's fins on the hands of it. I'm not sure exactly what sea creature that's based on, but let me know if y'all think you know in the comments. And now, they also did make an announcement about taxes in Rell Seas, and at first I kind of thought it was a troll because of how they worded it, but I'm pretty sure they're being for real. They said, "I know a lot of you are youngins. Rell Seas will teach you about the real world. As Fleet Admiral, we've opened up an IRS division to collect property and boat taxes. Being taxed is a part of progression in Rell Seas. Failure to do so will put a bounty on your head." And y'all can let me know what y'all think, but I'm pretty sure they're being for real. Now, they was kind of trolling with the "I know a lot of you are youngins." I mean, they're not really trolling. That is true. They just kind of flexing their unk status out here. They said if the American education system won't take care of y'all, they got you. But how I'm assuming this is gonna work is if there is a division that collects the taxes, it will probably be a ship that comes up to you and you can either fight it or pay your taxes. If you do fight the ship, obviously you won't pay your taxes, so it will up your bounty, and also you're fighting Marines, so that would probably up your bounty anyways. And I assume this is really for people that just want to be a normal civilian, that don't want to be a Marine or a pirate and just want to go on a boat and chill and run a restaurant or something. Because if I'm a pirate, I'm gonna have a bounty anyways. Why am I gonna pay taxes? I already have a bounty. If anything, I want a higher bounty. Hell no, I'm not paying no weak ass taxes. But I guess it does make it feel more like a real world, and it also does incentivize you to be a pirate because you're probably not gonna have to pay taxes. But about 9 months ago, I did make a video going over your guys' thoughts and opinions on Rell Seas and your ideas, and that was 9 months ago, and a lot has changed since then. So I made a new community post asking your guys' suggestions and opinions or hot takes on the current state of Rell Seas. And if you guys don't want to miss it next time, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and YouTube will probably recommend it to you fast next time, because I actually do enjoy going over these. So if you guys want me to do more of these, definitely let me know. Now, y'all are not ready for this first hot take. The first hot take is a grinding system a little similar to block shoots, but without quests and a little more variation. Listen, there's a lot to unpack here. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's chill on him. He did say with more variation, but where you're losing me is the whole part where you said similar to Blox Fruits but without quests. Unless Blox Fruits had the craziest revamp of all time, which I'm pretty sure they haven't because that dragon rework that was supposed to come out in Christmas is still not out. Blox Fruits progression is just farming 5 bandits, getting the quest, farming 5 bandits, then maybe doing a boss every now and then. That's kind of a mid and boring boss most of the time. And if you remove the quest part of that, you're just farming 5 bandits, then farming 5 bandits in a circle, farming 5 bandits in a circle, and basically doing that over and over again. Now, I think the problem with this whole statement of wanting a grinding system like this is you want more variation than Blox Fruits, and Blox Fruits has no variation. So basically, you're saying you don't want Blox Fruits progression, but you want it to be like Blox Fruits progression. It just kind of doesn't make sense if you see what I'm saying. Now, the part where he says without quest, I low-key feel like this is Blox Fruits hoeing the next generation, because he's probably thinking, damn, if I get a quest, that just means I have to kill 5 bandits and I have to go all the way back and get it again, which is true in a lot of games, but you can actually make unique quests that are fun to do. I know it's a foreign concept these days because Roblox games be making the most boring quests of all time, but yeah, it is possible to make a good and interesting quest, and I hope this commenter will one day understand what I'm saying. Now, the next hot take is basically about Rell Seas adding a lot of content that doesn't necessarily need to be there on release. He says, my hot take is although some of the extra stuff they're adding is cool, such as in-depth underwater exploration, they could have easily been added on updates. And he's basically saying if they save some of that extra content for updates, they could have already been released to Rell Seas and we could already be playing it. And he says he would prefer that because it's summertime. And I feel like a lot of y'all are gonna understand that part, because a lot of y'all are gonna have way less time to play the game if it doesn't release in summer, and it's honestly not looking like it will. And in my personal opinion, I do understand this comment and this take in general. Like, it does make a lot of sense from a player perspective, but I do also understand why the Rell brothers have chosen to go about it the way they did. Like the example he brings up with the in-depth underwater exploration, I could really deal with basic underwater exploration and just like sea beasts and krakens on release, and then they could go more in depth with that on an update. I really wouldn't care that much. Now, I won't lie, knowing that it is going to be on release is just making the game sound even better, and it is another fun thing that will be on release, but it's just kind of about how you weigh it. Like, is the game being better on release worth it for having to wait for the game to come out? In a player perspective, I personally think probably not, but at the same time, I do understand this is a passion project and they want this to be as good as possible on release. And in this example, being the first game to have in-depth underwater exploration is a big thing that's going to separate them from other One Piece games on the platform. And when you consider they're trying to beat out Blox Fruits, I mean, that definitely does also make a big incentive for trying to make this game crazy over the top good. And now I'm pretty sure somebody's going to say, why do you guys want them to release a rushed game? But I'm pretty sure that's not what this comment is saying. It's more of saying they don't necessarily think they needed to add as much content as they did on release, and they could have saved some of it for updates. And overall, I would just say this is probably a matter of opinion, so I do think it is probably a pretty decent to good take overall. And now the next suggestion basically says the game needs to add a destruction system. I hate it when I'm playing a game and I hit a building or a tree with a move and they're still standing or aren't physically destructed in any way. And I think this is a good suggestion to an extent. I don't think it's realistically possible for them to be like Arcane Odyssey or like Jujutsu Shenanigans and have the whole map be destructible. And also just the needs part is definitely a stretch. Like, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world if they don't have a destruction system, but I do believe if they have some trees or buildings that are breakable, it will add a lot to the game, because I do understand what he's saying. Like, imagine you throw a big Goro, Raigo or something, or any crazy type of ultimate attack and a tree is still chilling like you didn't just hit it with it. Regardless though, like I said, not the biggest deal in the world in my opinion. Now this last hot take is pretty interesting in my opinion. He said, I don't think that weapons like Whitebeard's Bicento should have fruit moves. And now this would also apply to weapons like Crocodile's Claw. He's saying wouldn't have any type of sand moves and things like that. Now I am kind of 50-50 on this take. Now I do believe the Rell brothers said the reason they're having the fruit moves be on the actual weapons is because they don't believe you'll recognize the weapon very well if it doesn't have the fruit moves. By that, it basically means if you have Bicento but you can't use any of the moves Whitebeard used with the Bicento, it doesn't even really feel like Bicento, right? Now I'm usually hating on GPO, but I actually like how GPO handles weapons like this, and Bicento specifically. Now in GPO, Bicento does have a Gura type move even if you don't have the fruit, but if you do have the fruit, it buffs the move to be a lot cooler and a lot more significant. And I kind of like how they did it where it's like a balance of it still feels like the weapon, but it doesn't feel like I'm straight up using the fruit. And this is where I kind of see the complaint for Rell Seas make a little bit of sense, because they straight up just use the fruit in some of the moves. Like for example, they showed Crocodile's hook and he literally straight up goes underground, like under the sand, like he straight up has the fruit. And then I believe the other move is like some type of whirlpool, and I honestly don't really care. I think is so cool. But I can understand the complaint, and I do think GPO did do it a little more in the middle where you could like it either way. So even though I understand where this complaint is coming from, I do think it would limit them a lot if they made it so they can't use the fruit moves at all. So I do think Rell Seas probably made the right call on this. And there's a lot more ideas, suggestions, and hot takes to go over, but I don't have enough time in this video. This video would be a million years long. So like I said, if you guys want me to make another one, let me know by liking, subscribing, so you get the next community post when I actually make one if you want to participate as well. And also, we're just getting close to 50k subscribers, and only 18% of you guys are subscribed, so it would help a lot if you did subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Later.